Hi everybody, I'm here like usual. I work a lot, sometimes a little too much. Like I used to have fingers, but I quite literally work them to the bone. I have nubs now. But when I need something to sit back and enjoy too, movies are a good default. It's straightforward, you shut up, you zone out, maybe focus if you want, turn off your brain is another option. 2 hours later, you technically did something fun. As much as I'd love to make a high quality movie, I gotta say, I do enjoy me some classics, specifically the animated ones I grew up with. Some are for comfort, others are for actual redeeming things within them, and to an extent, it's a trip through memory lane, thinking about these movies that stuck with me during those summer evenings where the dusk air was inescapable, where I can go back and have all those worries fade away, even if only temporary. The movie that caused this video, Ant Bully 2006, the director is the same one who did the writing for the Jimmy Neutron movie and show and Power Hours. It was sacred from the start. Ant Bully follows this loser kid named Lucas as he suffers what has to be one of the worst reasonings I've ever seen someone go through their own character journey. Like, he is the ant bully. He bullies the ants. The perspective change between Lucas and the ants is something I always thought about a lot after a rewatch. Like, Lucas is a dweeb. He gets bullied by most of the other neighborhood kids too, so he takes it out on the bugs, and the bug POV is like... I had zero memory of this movie looking this ugly. Like, everything about it has this vibe to it of not quite human, but also not quite not human. This was normal to Jimmy Neutron as well. Every character had exaggerated attributes, usually their heads, but the most extreme examples would end at things like the water balloon cotton candy kid I always felt bad for. But here, it's just completely random. What will and won't be stretched or disproportionate, the neighborhood kids here are all freaks. I completely forgot about the amount of gross things in this movie from start to end. There's a scene where, like, they have Lucas eat some bug shit, or another one where he befriends this trio of random bugs inside a frog's stomach. The exterminator gets the worst of it, especially when they lose at the end and they get injected with a shrinking potion that's supposed to be inserted in your ear, and because it isn't, he's supposed to spend the rest of his life looking like a bowling pin man. Like, how do you come home to your wife after that? One thing Ant Bully does pretty well is make the world feel lived in. This movie is pretty long, no characters feel like they take up too much time in the story, and even though we get enough time to see how the ants have their own culture, religion, dude, they even got like preferred culture food. They love sweet rocks, they love jelly beans. I agree with them, jelly beans are pretty good. The cast for this one threw me in for a loop, especially knowing what these names actually mean. Like Nick Cage we saw, there's Julia Roberts, Bruce Campbell, Tom Kenny, Rob Paulson, Max Burkholder, Frank Welker. Why is Paul Giamatti here? This instantly makes the box office of this one a chuckle and a half. Ant Bully was a flop, but even then I saw myself coming back to Ant Bully way more than I should have. Once Lucas gets shrunk, he just takes the time to make the most of his situation. He goes to like an ant training event. He sneaks into his house to cancel the exterminator's schedule to do a genocide. There's an extended scene closer to the end where they try and establish this theme that the humans should be more unified, like the ants, which sure, that can be a theme, but why would you have that be a tangent at the end? It was kind of random. The real message is more of a rehash of Bug's Life with that idea, like you should stand up for what you believe in and what's right. And you know, I hate saying this, but Bug's Life's straight up just a better movie in all regards, except through maybe visually. Though Bug's Life setting has human waste, but not actual humans, so it ended up having more of a spin to everything, whereas Ant Bully's creative pieces end at the hill itself. Why did I have so many animated bug movies? Like B-Movie, James and the Giant Peach, Ants, each having their own layers and insanity to deal with and endure. The fact that this was the most normal bug movie I had, the fact that I had multiple movies from different teams and companies about bugs, it's baffling to a certain point. The biggest thing that adds charm here has to be these animated shorts, like 8 minutes of whatever bonus content, all prequel to the actual movie following the side characters doing whatever. Like the Frog Stomach Trio are dealing with a spider, for example. I've been interested in these shorts for just as long, had a lot of fun here. The fact this is based on a book goes to show how much an idea like shrinking and living with ants has to offer. You know another adaptation I'm a fan of? Treasure Planet. Top 5, hell, even top 3 Disney movie for me, directed by John Musker and Ron Clements in 2002, based on the famous Treasure Island story. Treasure Island in general's gotten a dozen of remakes and retellings throughout the time it's existed. This just happens to be the most extreme retelling of that idea. Treasure Planet is in space, that's all you gotta know. It reeks of occasional early 2000s musics and jokes, but overall it's such a fun adventure. There's 2 major things that make this adventure so compelling: the premise itself and the big dynamic of the cast. We follow Jim Hawkins trying to save his mom's inn after this turtle guy crash lands by their place. From here, it's Jim, Dr. Delbert Doppler, Morph, that one guy Martin Short voices who's whatever, the cat lady Captain Amelia who I'm too scared to look look up on Google Images, and the rest of those guys as they go on and go find some treasure. But across the greater Disney filmography, there's not really anything that quite matches the world and life found here. Even the presentation, each location is distinct and creative. Like, I look at the Crescent City at the start, the harbor where Jim's adventure really begins, and guys, nothing in terms of space exploration or creativity has topped this for me, but easily the coolest thing we have here is the bad guy, John Silver, Long John Silver. Now, in the original story, Silver is a relatively traditional deception of a bad pirate. He has a parrot, the accent R thingy. Biggest outlier comes from his missing leg, no peg leg, just hobbles around with a crutch. In here, he's a cyborg, so that's already plus 15 Choopo points. Then he's just really cool, actually. I don't feel like it's a hot take to say Silver is one of, if not Disney's best villain. I wouldn't even consider him a villain, just an antagonistic force. Now, Scroop is a villain, though, and he's banished to space, so what are you gonna do about that? Jim and John Silver's dynamic is by far the backbone of the story. I always loved how the two of them built a trust and bond despite John Silver's intentions. Jim's a kid who was abandoned by his own father, not really knowing where to go or what to do from there. This in specific is changed from the initial novel. Most deceptions have Jim's father to be deceased or ill by the start of it, so Jim actually willing to approach and see John Silver as a father figure makes these moments incredible, but then it hurts even more when the inevitable switch-up happens and the takeover of the ship occurs. Silver knows what he did to Jim and how it hurts both of them. He feels legitimate remorse, enough to where he can't force himself to shoot Jim, or near the end where he's like willing to abandon his destiny of raiding Treasure Planet just to save Jim. If you choose to rewatch this one, something I caught and thought was very funny here was the live John Silver reaction that happens whenever Jim does anything. I'm serious, every single time he comes up on the screen or sees Jim do anything of note, it'll always cut to John Silver at a medium shot, usually giving his emotional response toward whatever Jim just did. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's still really well done here. There's just this level of life given to him, unlike any other of Disney's rogue gallery, enough to where good luck making this world work in Kingdom Hearts. It will never be in Kingdom Hearts. I wish it was. It never will, or anything really. This movie didn't really do all too well. It's kind of underrated, mostly because of marketing issues. It really sucks though, because this was easily one of the top things Disney has made. The benefit of this though is that it'll never get a live action remake, something that we should all be grateful for. Even then, it might not be worth it. Now, it does break my heart a little bit seeing Disney in the past 15 years ago with consistent human CGI that all relatively looks the same. I know it's not all too different compared to the golden age of the 90s, but that small variety can go a long way, and part of me hopes that they go back to their original quality control and make some good stuff more consistently. Because full confidence, I don't think anything has made me enjoy Disney as much as like the first Wreck-It Ralph movie in 2012, and even then it wasn't that high up on my personal favorites, so it's kind of hard to say where I stand with Disney. I don't see it improving though. Moving on, I knew Lord and Miller were gonna be somewhere on this lineup. The two guys were responsible for Spider-Verse, for Jump Street, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. They know how to make good movies. They make good, funny, good times. But let's take a look at the Lego movie from 2014. I totally forgot how funny these movies are. All these theatrical Lego movies are way funnier than they have any right to be.
Y'all ready for this? Oh no, they were ready for that.
Lego Batman was great. Just saw the Ninjago movie for a video on the other channel and thought it was a solid successor. Never saw the second movie though. The first has remained the greatest of all time. Now, I had a little bit of a Lego phase when I was younger. It's mostly just an easy gift to build a full structure and then like put it on a shelf or something. But I used to have a bin of Legos. Going back, I always wondered what would have happened had I chose to pursue Legos as a more consistent thing. Maybe I would have started pursuing architecture instead of like film production. If I did, maybe I'd play more of the Lego games or build more Lego structures to be legitimately proud of. I used to be in a Lego club for a while in elementary school. I always had an interest in creating stuff, I guess. That was pretty consistent no matter what. But even then, outside of the presentation, this is just how I see Lego, just down to the pure essence and the feelings of the movie. It's chaotic, it's silly, it's proud of what it is. Weirdly enough, I've seen this movie get brought up a lot in my education. University, high school, middle school, just like since its released, it has been used as examples. Not even for icebreaker reasons, just like it is a really good movie for learning the basics of filmography and maybe social stuff, analysis. You can pause almost any scene and every frame just looks like one of those stop motion Lego shorts you'd stumble upon in the late 2000s, early 2010s. I remember I had to write an analysis essay on my film of choice for a final and decided to just write it on Lego Movie and Hope. With it, I finally took time to realize, oh my god, this story's accidentally really clever and has parallels probably maybe, or I'm looking too far. I felt like an English teacher insistent on analyzing why a door is blue in a novel or something, but the reveal at the end that the Lego movie has been manipulated by a kid playing in an afternoon blew my mind. With the main villain, President Business, being the kid's father, same actor for both characters, the main villain and the dad, I felt my third eye open. I could feel every cell of my body at the same time as like a spiritual awakening, finally comprehending that yes, the father and son are depicted and exaggerated by Finn's own imagination. Emmett being almost a self-insert of Finn as he plays with his legged O's. Probably the biggest weakness of the Lego movie has to be the fact it's Lego. I mean, there's a message of creativity and a shunning of following the instructions Lego provides, instead just doing whatever you want versus control and structure. Hell, it's even represented by Will Ferrell dad and human boy Finn standing on both sides of this thing with the Lego. Except that the marketing actually works against this movie because you can buy the wacky things that were built throughout the movie. It contradicts everything. It doesn't hit as hard. It doesn't feel as good when you know that. I don't know. Is it looking too deep? Just a small gripe in an otherwise fantastic movie. Everyone casted here I felt like did a great job. I think this is an example of celebrity casting being as good as typical voice acting. Making Morgan Freeman this incompetent mentor figure through Vitruvius, and Will Arnett's Lego Batman unironically being one of the best depictions of the general Batman franchise. Personal favorite has to be Liam Neeson, good cop, bad cop character. Like bad cop, sure, that makes sense. That's why he sounds like that, but he does what he's known for. But good cop,
Hi, buddy.
he's silly, I like him. How did he do that with his voice? Is this voice acting? Voice acting in a animated movie? Whoa, nifty nutmeg. But ultimately, like, it's Lego movie. It's a classic. It will be a classic. It bangs. It's an adventure with a lot of cameos, like a lot of cameos. I always think about how the Millennium Falcon perfectly warps in.
What do you think? A spaceship is just gonna appear out of the blue?
Are you kidding me? The same bit?
It's tubular. Like, how did this not even get nominated for an Oscar? That's ridiculous. But we've been looking at the funny movie for too long. I want to see something that's serious and cool, maybe a little bit of humor, something that would boggle my little child mind for as long as I'd see it. Let me tell you a story real quick. Now, growing up, December 23rd was one of my least favorite days of the year. I knew what was coming, presents, food, good times just around the corner. And because of that, I have a lot of memories coming up with the stupidest ways of keeping myself preoccupied. The one I think about the most was I was minding my own business. I was making a town out of old game and movie boxes, so my Bionicles and Sonic Jazzwares and other characters could all like fight and live there or whatever. Suddenly, unnamed sibling barges in. Dude, let's watch Tintin. Adventures of Tintin 2011, directed by Steven Spielberg. Wow, I was entirely enthralled by this movie when I watched it for the first time. In part because, I mean, flashing colors, well-executed action, great sense of adventure. It's really just the manipulation and control of the environments that Spielberg was known for. Been noted before, but the way Tintin plays with transitions and elegantly moves completely separate moments and locations is a major highlight in this one. It goes to show how even something as simple as transitions between scenes can be implemented smoothly and consistently without changing much of the flow of the movie. This one follows Tintin, his dog Snowy, and Captain Haddock trying to find the location of this ship called the Unicorn. The plot itself isn't all too eventful. In fact, I think this film was just to an extent Spielberg seeing how well he could do with the restraints of an entirely motion capture film. Which, I mean, that already makes it impressive. The only above average motion capture movie is like Monster House. Everything else was just done as ways to mess with the technology or make like whimsical Christmas movies or Barbie Christmas movies. And then you got Mars Needs Moms, which has multiple scenes where aliens get pissed on. The faster we leave Mars Needs Moms behind, the better. If I was a Tintin fan coming into this, I probably would have been unhappy with the lack of black dot seed eyes, knowing how I am. That's genuinely my biggest issue of this movie. I guess that and the fact it's closer to a fun watch than anything. Don't get me wrong, there's a fine line between a good watch and a fun watch. Like Oppenheimer's a good watch, whereas FNAF movie would be considered a fun watch. Tintin does teeter on both sides though. That's just something common with Spielberg's work. Like he was responsible for Jurassic Park. That's like Hollywood's king of that incredibly specific thing. He makes fun movies and good movies. In my opinion, the best moment is the one take in this movie. There's a moment where Tintin's trying to secure some papers, I believe it was for a treasure map, and on their attempt to escape, for 2.5 minutes straight, they are doing everything they can to get the scrolls and make it out of there. I still have no idea how they did this, how they shot this. It's unbelievably well done. It has to be some sort of animation black magic going on to make this happen. It's the Uncharted movie before the actual Uncharted movie that is significantly worse than Tintin. Why is Tintin doing your job better? A great movie, Choopo approved. Go watch it. Please go watch it. It's very good. Next one, Spirited Away, 2001. One of Miyazaki's finest films. My first ever Studio Ghibli movie. If there is any animation team that I should respect more, hell, everyone outside of Japan should respect more, it's gotta be Studio Ghibli for their consistent dedication to traditional animation. Wonderful, whimsical storytelling, and virtually everything that isn't Earwig and the Witch, because making a CGI movie out of Ghibli movies, it's like making a car without wheels or a human without a skeleton. This movie's a white crayon, but worse somehow. But Spirited Away, this film was responsible for me, and I'm sure of a lot of people getting into the greater Ghibli catalog. Personally, I've indulged in Ponyo, Boy and the Heron, Castle in the Sky, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro. Gotta keep my opinions quiet on Totoro. I will get crucified if I say anything. My favorite at the time of writing this has to be Porco Rosso. I'm eyeballing Lupin III because I'm a sucker for that lanky miscreant. I remember Spirited Away being I had to be like 7 or 8, and then I got pulled in by the grassy environment, this eerie piece. I think this was the first time I recognized a film being too quiet, like something was gonna pop up and be a problem. And sure enough, 2 minutes later, it appears that the main child has her parents transformed into pigs. Oh no. And from here, I won't lie, I've watched this movie 4 times. First watch ended here. This moment scared the hell out of me. Second time made it to when No Face starts eating people. My mom made me turn it off because my siblings deemed it Austin and Ally time at my expense. I don't like Austin and Ally. I wanted to finish my movie. Then next couple times, I got full watches, and to an extent, the movie kind of loses me near the end. That's not technically the fault of the movie itself. Rather, I would argue that's more of a problem with the general audiences and comprehension of narratives. A lot of time, casual viewers are just that, casual viewers. No matter what you make, could make your intention or message of a final product explicitly said into the viewers. You could drill it into their mind, and sometimes it still doesn't stick. In more recent videos, I have put more of an effort into making videos good and fun to watch. Good and fun to rewatch, especially on the main channel videos, especially those ones without the bizarre lore titles. I've seen firsthand that the consumer or viewer will have misinterpretations compared to what the artist intended, and that's okay, but you want to make that effort to not make that the case. And it's an issue here with correlating animation as a for kids label, because I mean, Ghibli films are built with heart. They care, they're for everyone. Most animation is for everyone, I would say. They almost always have underlying ideas and topics that may not fully be understood beforehand. I had a discussion with a friend for this one after a recent rewatch, and that's when I realized, whoa, wait, this is about like generational differences and stuff. It follows Chihiro trying to save her parents transformed into pigs for their beastly tendencies, their gluttony and greed. Pigs and other beast-like transformations are fairly common in Ghibli. This is them expressing the worst of man. So we see Chihiro trying to be better than her parents, that earlier generation, hoping to clean up the mess they made, to learn and to grow from that. It might be looking too deep, but that's pretty much what it follows for me. With Ghibli, it always feels like you're being absorbed, taken to another world for who knows how long, and witness animation being regarded with respect and importance. Spirited Away is no different, and through iconic scenes like No Face and Chihiro on the train, or even the weird baby that made me uncomfortable way more than it should have. It always will, by the way. I don't like this baby. Spirited Away makes me appreciate all of Ghibli's intentions, regardless of how time or culture shifts, and I truly, really do hope they continue to sustain this film work. Alrighty, let me wrap up with the best of the best, one that boggles my mind to this day, the one that is ever iconic and bloated with 2000s Green Day vibes and energy. Surf's Up, releasing in 2007. When I look up Surf's Up, I'm not even looking just at like a movie that is a comfort watch in all regards. I truly, truly, truly love Surf's Up. I watch it at least yearly, not quite at the level of an annoying child insistent on watching the same film on repeat, but enough to where I get most of the jokes and the feels down every time. Surf's Up is shot like a documentary as much as it is treated like a regular animated film. The characters know that they're being recorded, and based on how the camera moves, you can tell when something is or isn't being followed around by a camera crew. This is an idea I would love to see more of, a mockumentary animation style. The only other animated project that has a similar vibe to it is Disney Pixar's Dream Production show on Disney+, but let me know if there's any other examples I'm missing. I would love to see more animated projects like these ones. One thing I love about this movie movie and the main plot is how it feels like it's got huge stakes and then it's also laid back. We follow the main penguin, Cody, trying to prove himself after being seen as an outcast in the small town of the Antarctic, wherever he is in the Antarctic. He is in a small town there. It's a nice place. But from there, it's just like this consistent laid back feeling across the movie. I want to go to Pangu Island. It's like that thing where people see food in medias and wish they could try it. For me, it was always that dinner spread in Hook with Robin Williams. I want to swim and hang out in Pangu Island. This water looks stupid good. It looks so warm. There would always be barbecues. It would be incredible. It would be paradise to an extent. Every single time the characters make it to the secret beach, I can't help but just wish I was there. Probably one of the most iconic beaches to me. I didn't realize that was the thing of my life, but it definitely is better than the beach that makes you old. Like if I was on the beach that makes you old and I suddenly lost 40 years of my life, I would be pissed. This movie infuriates me to watch so much. Other than that, I think most of the characters are just alright. Each serves small little purposes. I don't quite think a lot of them manage to linger in culture or relevance because of that fact. The highlight's gotta be the tank, and they got Napoleon Dynamite as Chicken Joe, who his entire subplot is just trying to find out where Cody went at the start of the movie and then being banished to his own wacky B-plot shenanigans. Also, I almost went my entire life forgetting about Reggie, like the little otter guy who's just an asshole to be one. One night, I remembered him in a dream, but completely forgot that I dragged him out of the deep crevices of my cranium. Reggie's supposed to instigate or conflict or whatever, but he just ends up being this odd character. I can kind of see why I forgot about him, or even his design. It's something you would remember in a dream and never put your finger on where it came from. And at the end of that movie, I can never forget the high and wanting to chase the feelings here. Just a couple of birds surfing in the summer sunset on a beautiful day. A relaxed party and vibe in all regards. This right here, this ending, this is a dream that might be the end game. This might be my goal. It makes me happy that I exist. It is such a feel-good moment. It encapsulates the feelings and joys of summer vacation, of the warmth and tropicalness of actually going on a trip, on an adventure with people you love and care about. It is a phenomenal ending to a movie I consider fantastic. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you're new here, subscribe, comment, check out the other videos, and support where you can. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this video. I got a bunch of other personal favorites I'd love to share and talk about. If you have thoughts on these movies, please let me know in the comments. In conclusion though, Surf's Up 2 is blasphemy. John Cena doesn't belong in the surfing penguin land. Don't even get me started on Surf's Up 2. This movie sucks!